Welcome to the NFTPinas podcast, where we explore, educate, and share about all things in the crypto world.
And today we will be breaking the stigma on NFTs being harmful to the environment, featuring our friends from the Green NFT project. And today we are actually joined by one of their co-founders, Julian Thornton. He's the project lead and head of the research and development for Green NFT. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for waking up and being on our podcast today. Welcome as well, Julian. Thank you for taking the time also to be on our podcast. So,
Of course, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
yeah, welcome to our Discord community. Hello to Chill, Dilufi, Joash, Maurice, Kwan, and those who are watching on our Facebook Live. Good morning and good day to everyone. Yeah, so as always, this is not financial advice. We encourage everyone to always do fact checking and doing your own research on topics discussed in this podcast. The views and opinions of guests do not reflect or represent NFTPinas as a whole. For our agenda for today, we'll be talking a lot about how NFTs or the blockchain work, the not good for the environment argument, the available solutions currently available for us, and also diving deep into what Green NFT is all about. To start off, of course, before we talk about the issue at hand or the argument that is being thrown around in the crypto space since I think ever since it started. So we have to learn first how blockchains work. So a blockchain is basically a digital ledger where transactions are recorded via blocks. So each transaction is represented by a block. And this block is broadcasted to every party in the network. And those in the network approve if the transaction is valid. After the validation is approved, the block can then be added to the chain, which provides an indelible and transparent record of transactions. And then whoever receives the transaction or is the recipient of the transaction will have a notification that that transaction is successful. And the way that networks validate this transaction is through a concept called proof of work. So it requires a participating node to demonstrate that the work they have completed and submitted qualifies them to add new transactions to the blockchain. So basically, this is how crypto miners are helping the network validate transactions. So it requires very huge amount of computing power to be able to participate in the network. And also, since they are basically fighting to be the ones to validate the transaction because it helps them earn through the rewards that are given via the gas fees. So that's why crypto mining boomed during the rise of Bitcoin and Ethereum because the rewards are very handsome at that point in time. And also, again, to be able to get more rewards, you need more computing power. That's why a lot of people invested in huge mining rigs to be able to earn more through the crypto space. That's why there's this argument that NFTs or crypto in general is bad for the environment. The argument is because mining rigs consume a lot of power to be able to process the transactions. They actually use a ton of energy, which then translates to generating tons of carbon dioxide per year. Basically, the argument is if you have a mining rig or a mining rig operation, you are generating and helping the deterioration of our environment. How about you, Julian? Do you have any other, or do you hear any other like arguments thrown around that are similar to the not good for the environment argument?
You know, the not good for the environment argument is definitely one of the biggest ones that I hear about NFTs. I mean, it's just so important to me, I guess, and important to a lot of people who do care about the environment, no matter what side of the political coin you're on. I think a lot of people fall in the same category of, well, the environment should be protected as well as we can to a reasonable extent. And when it comes to NFTs and the proof of work model, proof of work is just such a ridiculous way to validate a transaction. I mean, it made sense, or a way way long time ago when this sort of thing started kicking off, when we started talking about Ethereum and Bitcoin 10 years ago, it made sense to say, okay, this is a way that we generate these things, and because we generate them this way, we're given so much of a reward that has been deteriorating more and more over time. So we're starting to get to a point even where the proof of work is no longer even really very rewarding from what it used to be. I mean, these I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but knowing the Bitcoin deterioration of their rewards, they've been getting much lower and lower as we go. So more and more people are mining, but they're trying to extract this reward out of more intensive problem solving, computer problem solving. The problems are only getting harder, and the rewards are only getting smaller, making mining more and more obsolete every single day. Personally, I've never thought it was all that well of an idea. I mean, we've had a lot of issues come up with mining and proof of stake as well, or sorry, proof of work as well. One of the things that really hurt me, and I know a lot of our gaming community as well, is the complete and utter graphics card shortage that was entirely unexpected during this time and this rise of crypto. There was such a time where I thought, oh, well, I'd love to upgrade my computer. I'd love to do something new. And I find that, oh, now there are no graphics cards available because every single person is buying up these graphics cards so they can plug them into a rig with 10 other graphics cards so they can start mining Bitcoin or Ethereum. And not to mention how much that takes to get through these giant equations. I mean, you can have this massive rig that's made up of, 10 GPUs, 10 AAA rated GPUs, and somehow still you yourself are probably not going to work through that problem, that equation yourself. I mean, it requires teaming up with different organizations, different groups, different mining groups, all mining on the same network so that they can actually achieve the goal. And then just this tiny little reward gets split amongst hundreds of miners. It just doesn't seem like it's working anymore. But other arguments for NFTs besides the environmental impact, I mean, I've heard things, and I don't really understand how, but I've heard this amongst other people, and that just like owning something like that and owning it through code, owning it through anonymity isn't true ownership. I mean, a lot of this comes from people who are very physical, materialistic sort of ownership. If you have something tangible, it's real. If it's not tangible, it's not real. It's the same kind of line that when the internet came out, was say, oh, these things are all happening on this screen and in sort of this web, right? So it's not actually tangible. I can't reach my hand into the computer and touch Internet Explorer, right? So is it real? I mean, that's really up to you to decide. But I think the thing that they don't understand is that the way this is set up, the way the NFTs are set up that is so good is that we require all of these validators to approve a transaction. So even if you can't tangibly own something, you still hold the entire right to it through a network of people saying, yes, you do own this.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I think the ownership part of the digital art came also from I think it was an issue with Larva Labs with CryptoPunks. The version 1 of CryptoPunks was apparently, I think all of the CryptoPunks versions are basically still owned by Larva Labs because they don't give the owners, the NFT holders, what they call this, commercial rights to use their profile pictures or the NFT itself.
Oh, I see.
That's
I did not
why
know that.
today or just a few hours ago, I think, there was an announcement where the creators of Bored Ape Yacht Club bought the rights and basically all of the CryptoPunks and Me Bits NFTs from Larva Labs. And then the first thing they did was give the NFT holders the commercial rights. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so
I did hear about the sale. Do you know how much it was? How much they bought those rights for?
I'm not sure, but definitely it will be
Definitely
lots
probably
of
a lot.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine for the commercial rights to all CryptoPunks being released back to the actual NFT owners. And it's and not to say that it's a bad thing, right? I'm not
Mhm.
saying that if you own an NFT, you should own the commercial rights to it, because that is totally up to the person who makes it. It's the same with any real art, or
Yeah.
sorry, not real art, but any art that you purchase like for a commission. When I commission someone for a piece of art, I ask for the commercial rights. I ask for various things. I ask for, all the rights to the image I'm getting. If they choose to give me that, that's between them and us. And if they don't give me the commercial rights, I don't use it commercially. I mean, it's totally valid for someone who's selling art to not want it used in a certain
Mhm.
way, and that happens a lot with NFTs as well. There's been various projects, not to name any, but there have been projects out there who well, they get their art from, somebody off of Fiverr or just an
Yeah.
artist known in the community, but they don't tell that artist, oh, we're going to be using this in NFTs, we're going to be using this to make more money.
Mhm.
And that is where you're sort of having a bigger issue, right? So you're now using this thing you haven't really gotten the rights and privileges for, to make NFTs and make more money. And that's where we have a bit of a problem, and that I totally recognize as well is quite an issue. And if there was a way that we could easily solve that, then I think we'd really have something. But getting yeah, but my moral of the point I'm trying to reach is that I totally understand that that both CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Club's position in that sort of in that situation, that it's all dependent on who makes the art.
Yeah, yeah. So I also saw an article here in the Philippines where someone commissioned a Filipino artist but didn't tell them that it's for an NFT project. So
Hmm.
they paid this artist way below his rate, and then he eventually learned that it was used for NFT projects. So I'm not sure what are the steps he's taking to go after the one who
Mhm.
commissioned him, but yeah, it's really sad because it takes advantage of the artist's skill,
Absolutely.
and also taking advantage of the artist himself, and then making profits of their work. So it's really unfair
Absolutely.
for the artist as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't, I always, when I talk to all of our artists, there's usually a clear cut thing that says we are using this for NFTs,
Mhm.
and what we want to do is get you involved. I mean, if you want to be an artist with our team, we want you to reap the rewards of everything that comes with that. I mean, it's a big position. There's a lot that's required. I mean, a lot of our art team works really hard.
Mhm.
And if we don't outright say, well, this is the flat rate that we're doing it at, then I would more than happily give them, the staff cut of our mint. I mean, it's just only fair to respect the artist and make sure they get what they're owed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Currently, there are definitely available solutions right now. So, as you can see in this slide, there are familiar cryptocurrencies like Polygon, Cardano, Harmony One, and Solana and Tezos. So, all of these blockchains have one thing in common. So, it is the use of proof of stake. As mentioned earlier, Ethereum and Bitcoin, which are considered layer one solutions or layer one blockchains, are using proof of work. So, with the other or the available solutions right now that are more environment friendly, is using proof of stake. So, it implies entrusting the maintenance of the public ledger to a participant node in proportion to the number of virtual currency tokens it owns. So, basically, uh, when a user has staked a certain amount of coins, he or she or they now control or at least be able to participate in validating transactions for that network. So this is a much more environment friendly way to validate transactions because you just have to own a lot of coins maybe, and
Mhm.
then participate in the network. And this happens because I guess I have to say first that those networks that we have mentioned earlier are layer 2 solutions, which means they are built on top of the layer 1 networks and provide different solutions such as a side chain, a plasma chain, state channels, and roll ups to be able to be more environment friendly and not use the proof of work concept. So we won't be discussing all of the four main solutions that layer 2 chains have, but there are no cryptocurrency or crypto network that has all of these four combined. So
Hmm.
one network may have the side chain, one network may implement the roll ups. So we won't be talking about that. But basically, layer 2 solutions are built on top of the layer 1. That means the transaction fees are lower, the speed of the transactions being validated is faster, and it uses proof of stake. So that's layer 2 solutions, and that's what we have currently available as a solution to being green in the crypto space. I guess we can now move forward with introducing your project, which is Green NFTs. So NFT is an NFT project focused on building the bridge between a healthy environment and Web3 through NFTs and sustainable forestry. And can you introduce your team?
Absolutely. Thank you. So myself, of course, I am the project leader and the head of research and development. My name is Julian Thornton. I'm an environmental resources engineer, soon to be certified in that field, and a forestry fanatic, so you may say. My one of my other founders, Devin Drabick, is our diversity, equity, and inclusion representative, as well as our technical correspondent. Our project developers are Carlos Santos and Aiden DeBolt, and our project artist and lead project artist is Shell. And together we make up the Green NFT team, and it is so very fantastic. On top of our team, we have amazing moderation led by Inomaki, and the Green NFT team is just so great. Everyone is so very helpful, and as I was telling Gab before this that we just work so well together. I mean, everyone plays their own role in this project, and we all sort of come together with a common understanding that this is a good thing that we're doing and we're moving forward in a positive way. So as we move forward with our team, it's just so great to hear everyone's ideas, and we really try to all be involved in the decision making and make sure everyone's voice is heard.
Yeah, and also the reason why I got drawn to your project is because, well, first I told you this on the our Twitter conversation. I was researching on the environmental effects of NFTs, and if there are
Yep.
certain projects that are actually going against the argument that we had earlier, which is NFTs are bad for the environment, and
Right.
upon searching, there are really no NFT projects that tackle this specific problem except for you guys.
Mhm.
So I think you're the first ones to do that sort of initiative and also making or have the initiative to push for greener practices in the Web3 space. So that's why I got really drawn into your project, and also seeing your white paper and all really helped me decide to approach you guys to hopefully have this conversation we're having right now. So I'm really thankful for you accepting our podcast invitation. And
Of course,
yeah.
yeah. We're really happy to be out here and sharing our message with people because I mean there we have a lot of values at Green, and I totally understand where you're coming from with.
Mhm.
I also did a lot of research when I was writing the white paper back in January and December, and I said, well, who else is doing this, right? Because there's always the thought of if you thought of it, somebody else has already thought of it and
Yeah.
somebody else is already doing it. So I looked and I researched all over Twitter space, all over just the internet, trying to scrape out some information of like who is doing this kind of project, how are they doing it, and what are they doing, right? So
Mhm.
what I basically discovered is there are a few projects out there who have ideas, right? There's one that particularly comes to my mind, and what they do basically is they're making this little game to do with these characters, right? That they have people mint. It's a very similar setup to what a lot of games do with the breeding sort of setup. You buy one and then you can start breeding them with tokens. And I believe the thing that put me off from their project actually was
Mhm.
that when I read through their white paper, I was particularly right because I'm an environmentalist and I'm trying to find how I can make my project better, right? By using some of the community's already known things. I said, well, what can I do to make my project greener on top of the ideas I already have? I look through theirs. And what I'm hearing from them is just these very vague sort of suggestions of things that they're going to do. Like they say, oh, well, once we have everything minted out, we're going to, we're going to try to do some cleanups. We'll try to do some ocean cleanups. We'll
Mhm.
try to do this, try to do that. It's a lot of very just vague claims that something might happen and they're going to
Agree.
try to use green practices and oh, they're using proof of stake as well. So I mean
Mhm.
that's good. Proof of stake is definitely the progressive foot forward as we've already seen here. But if we're not going to if you're going to call yourself a green initiative project, you can't have the green part as the back burner of the project. You can't say, oh, we're going to do all of this, but only after we've, met these goals. It if you're going to lead a green project, green practices need to be on the forefront. And that's what I think sets our project apart so much is that because we say every single NFT you buy, every one of the 10,000 in our starting collection will be your access to not only our game, but it is the access to our tree. That is a living, breathing tree that's going in the ground, and it is going to help improve environmental conditions around NFTs. I mean, every single transaction is going to be covered under us by our trees, removing that carbon from the atmosphere as it's being generated. And that is the kind of initiative you lead with when you're leading a green initiative project. So I just think that personally that if that no, you're right. Not a lot of people are doing what we're doing, and we're really excited to be someone who's front running this kind of initiative.
Yeah, totally. So I guess you're right. That's what sets you apart because you really like live and breathe green, basically.
We try a lot. I mean, as many ways as we can. I mean, we try to do everything from puns to
Mhm.
sharing ways that you can be more eco-friendly to just showing off cultural trees and anything we
Mhm.
can do to really like get the community involved and get them to get people to connect with it a little bit better in a more fun way.
Yeah, at least I mean the passion is there basically from the all of your team to the community. I actually saw your Discord server and all of the people there are really supporting the green initiatives and also
Mhm.
applying those green practices in their daily lives. So that's really something that I guess important, especially in building NFT projects. So the
Absolutely.
community and the project owners or the creators are all having this one, I guess, vibe and that all of you are working towards.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the perfect segue into our ideals as
yeah.
well, because our goal obviously is to make our NFTs that drive these ecosystem services. I mean, one of the things that we're going to do, the first initiative we have is to get those trees planted, build our eco forest, and practice sustainable forestry. I mean, one of the issues in the world right now, on top of every other issue in the world, is the constant overuse of forest areas. I mean, we're chopping down so many trees every day in rainforests and elsewhere just to make the products that we consume. And it's so important that we use practices that are known and that are not even all that challenging to do. I mean, ecoforestry can be summed up in just being aware of what you're doing as you're doing it. And one of the issues that we want to tackle with that is not only removing the carbon from the atmosphere, but putting trees back in the ground where they belong. Through and using that obviously for the carbon sequestration. And on top of that, as we were just talking about, is our goal to, sure, that's number one. That's the number one goal, is to provide these services. But number two is to inform and educate people about what's going on in the world, and how they can make a difference, even on a small scale. I know with a lot of people, and when it comes to environmentalism, a lot of people get sad, and because it's there's a huge nihilist view to it that says, oh, well, these giant corporations, and these factories and these businesses, they're producing so much CO2, they're polluting the atmosphere, they're polluting the water. But what can I do as someone who's just a single person living in my home? What can I do to make a difference, compared to them? Well, it's small. And like if I was to do something, I recycle every single day. Let's take that as an example. I always recycle my cans, I recycle my recyclable plastics, all sorts of things like that, bottles, etc. And sure, when it's just me, it's maybe, a couple pounds of recycling every week. But when it's hundreds of thousands to billions of people, it's an entirely different story that's now turned from, my 2 pounds a week to 14 billion pounds a week. God forbid everyone does it. So it's about building up the small scale, and trying to educate people and help them to reach that point is really our number one goal. Well, one of our number one goals of three.
Yeah, educating others on green practices will definitely help, especially when done by a lot of people. So,
Mhm.
of course, we have to start small, and then just push
Absolutely.
the narrative to as many people as possible, because at the end of the day, it will all benefit us, especially now that our environment is really on the decline right now.
Yeah,
So,
we're starting to take hits to the point
mm,
that that climate change is becoming such an important thing in our society. I mean, I remember even just 10, 15 years ago, where the talk of climate change was absolutely absurd to a lot of people. A lot of the people where I grew up, even some notable scientists in my area had their doubts about that kind of thing. And I said, wow, really just wow. Now that we've gotten to this point where even people who were so against the idea of it, if there being a change, are now on board with saying, okay, something needs to be done, but what can we do to make that
mm.
difference?
Exactly. So you have this thing called the grow method, which really piqued my interest as well, because this tackles basically the argument that we are facing in the crypto space. So can you
Mhm.
tell us more about this green method?
Yeah, absolutely. The green/grow method, there it goes by a few names, but it's sort of this cyclical process where we continue these practices, and our goal. Well, I'll just start at the top. The first thing you can see on there is that, starting at the left hand side there. So you as investors, collect NFTs. We all sort of pick up these NFTs, which, as we know, are tokens. They're tokens on the blockchain. You pick up these NFTs that have certain characteristics to them. In our case, as opposed with a lot of projects, we come with the utility that this NFT is going to equal one tree. We have a software that is working its way through our development process, called iTree. iTree is basically a software that takes these NFTs and takes real living trees, through data cataloging, and syncs them together in a database. We take the purchases of NFTs, and we turned the capital from that into real living trees. And of course, prices are varying. If the token is really high, hell, we might even be able to make two trees. If the price of trees is low, more the merrier. We take whatever capital we earn from these trees and invest it back into our project, and we make sure that everything is moving smoothly with what we receive from token or from NFT investments. We take those, invest them into our trees. These trees, I mean, they're trees. This is a long process, and this is something that people have been preaching in the NFT space for so long now, is that people buy the hype and they dump it fast. And this in terms of NFT purchases. And what a lot of people say, well, what some people say is that if you want to believe in a project and watch it grow to its fullest, you need to be there for the long term. I mean, with a lot of these new games out, you have people who are saying, well, I'm in it for the long run because I trust the development team. And I think that maybe it's not so great right now. Maybe the token isn't doing great right now. But in the future, I believe the team behind this understands what's going on and that they can make a difference. We are in the same boat that this is a long-term project. And if you're just here to pump and dump the project, it's not going to be as beneficial. I mean, we're here for the long term. Trees take a long time to grow, and nothing's going to happen overnight. But in 20, 30 years, when, a new generation is born, it's going to be a difference for them, and that's what we're working towards. So as our trees grow, they start to absorb carbon, and this carbon breaks down into it absorbs CO2, carbon dioxide, which breaks down into carbon and oxygen. That oxygen is the oxygen we breathe, and that carbon goes to building up the tree. It's the mass that builds this tree as it continues to grow. The more carbon it absorbs, the bigger these trees can grow. So we want our trees to absorb carbon from the atmosphere. And as we take little by little, that's an improvement, really. I mean, it might not match the amount of carbon that's being sent off by oil and gas industries every day, but it's doing something. Even if it's 0.01%, that's more than nothing. These trees then what we have recently established is that investors can stake their NFTs to earn our tokens. We have two forms of tokens coming along in the next few months. One of which is our utility token called Green Coins. Green Coins can be used in many different ways to play games, to activate cosmetics, and we're hoping to create a huge slew of things that you can do with your Green Coins. So you never feel the need to really, I mean, a coin that stays in its ecosystem and doesn't get sold off is something that's going to thrive longer. If we can build a sense of value outside of our tokens, we will be in a really good place. And for me, creating a way that we can do that is really promising. So our investors can stake for various tokens, including our governance token, which will help drive our goals in the future. We do have full plans on becoming a DAO, becoming an autonomous organization so that our community can make decisions, and they will be using these stake tokens to make those decisions and help guide us along our path for green practices. So of course we're going to start off with growing our trees, getting our tree farm out there, getting the carbon credits, and then moving into other projects. I mean, be it more trees or be it solar and wind, so we can generate renewable energy credits and benefit the renewable energy market. We are not opposed to any sort of green services, and we want our community to be involved in that. So by staking your tokens, you have the chance, or staking your NFTs, you have the chance to earn tokens and be a part of our ecosystem. And then as it goes in a circular diagram like this, we reinvest. Our community reinvests in the project, reinvests in the NFTs, so we can continue to grow and to continue improving green.
Yeah, so that's the green process and I guess the grow method that you are implementing in your project. And it's really interesting, right? At first glance, you will definitely see that the project is all about implementing these green practices, and then you plan to reinvest those earnings or profit from it to push forward your initiative into getting sustainable forestry. And then for as an investor, you also get to earn those tokens and then reinvest it again into the project. A really good initiative. It's a really good process that investors or NFT collectors will go through. And at the same time, you help the environment, basically. So that's really very interesting and very good for everyone. It's a win-win situation either way. So yeah, it's really great that you have this grow method.
Which is really great because a lot of the time when it comes to environmentalism, you have to make sacrifices in terms of the balance between profit and doing something good for the environment. In our method, we continually reinvest, and we know starting out that it is our goal to reinvest the profit that we do incur back into our project. So this is all set out, and we really don't face any true losses as we move through organically in the next, couple months.
Mhm.
And I say, yeah, but this isn't something you have to buy right away. And we have a lot of time here. I mean, the more people who get excited about it now, the faster we can grow, and that's really it. And I'm really hopeful that more people get on board with it, for sure.
Yeah. So we have this thing called carbon credit, which is, I think, good to discuss or at least tell our audience. So basically, carbon credit is the common name given to any certificate or permit representing 1 ton of CO2 or equivalent other greenhouse gases. So for those who don't know yet, there's this thing called the Paris Act, right? So they basically the Paris Act is a collective like decision or memorandum for all countries that want to participate in it, where it pushes the narrative of reducing carbon footprint in the world or CO2 footprint in the world. And carbon credits can be, or carbon credits are given to those companies who are emitting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So to reduce that, a carbon credits given to those companies, and then they can trade it if they are emitting less than the 1 ton of carbon dioxide. So it incentivizes them to reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases and basically help the environment. So I think you took inspiration from the legal system of the United States, right? For this
Yes.
exact thing. So can you
Yes, carbon credits
uh,
are a wonderful balancing act within the US that are assigned and removed as CO2 is produced or removed.
mhm,
And a lot of these big businesses, especially in industries where you see a ton of CO2 is, well, not just a ton, but a lot of CO2 is produced. These are the same people who have to start paying because they no longer have enough carbon credits to sort of let them continue work. Obviously, nobody working at the oil rig wants the oil rig to shut down. So the company, including the people who run the company, the people don't want it to shut down. The company needs to buy carbon credits because they've run out.
mhm,
Carbon credits basically, as you said, they contract that says, well, my company owns the rights to these tokens, and if I want to give them to anyone I want, I can, and they
mhm.
hold some sort of value. And I want to know because there is a price for these. I wish I could find it right now. Let's see. I have a table up here, and I'm just trying to. It looks like tree planting. Carbon credits generated through tree planting can range anywhere from $2 to $20 on the market, meaning the average price is approximately $7.50 per carbon credit. So, like a
Mm,
token, carbon credits hold a price that fluctuates based on supply and demand, and they can be super beneficial for lots of different companies. And our goal with the carbon credits is, yes, we're going to need to sell them to make a profit. Sure, as you do. If you're going to get the carbon credits and you're not generating any sort of carbon, which we won't be. As we're just generating the credits, we'll be selling these off to people who deserve them. I mean, I have no intention of selling my carbon credits off to some oil rig, some coal plant. They need them and they will pay a lot for them. But the people who really need them are people like us who are trying to set up these green initiatives, but require some sort of carbon input. So, and there are a lot of companies out there that need sort of that to make that balance. There's also, which I think I'll talk about more towards the end of our discussion here, is
mhm,
that there's a sense of validity for various types of projects. If you own carbon credits, you can consider yourself carbon neutral if you own the amount if you own them in the correct balance, which we can talk about a little bit later as well when we get to that point. So yeah, carbon credits are byproduct of this Paris Accord, and they're very interesting, and it does take our project does take some serious roots from sort of governmental regulations in the U.S. that we're hoping to use to improve our world.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Philippines is actually considered one of the lowest carbon dioxide emissions in the world, but we do trade carbon credits as well. So I saw an article where I think the World Development Fund or something like that bought some carbon credits in exchange for having a solar power plant here in the Philippines. So
Very cool.
it's not just monetary value. Sometimes it's infrastructure for renewable energy that's getting traded through this carbon credit system. It's really a green initiative that countries are doing, and it's really good to know that there's something like this happening, even though very a touchy subject, I guess, for others.
Absolutely, yes, it very
Yeah.
much can be.
So let's talk more about the green chess and the passes. So can you tell us more about this?
Absolutely. So this is the part I'm sure a lot of people are interested in, given there is a big focus on the play to earn space right now. Green chess is our game. It's the game that we continuously our cryptocurrency that we'll be using in the game, our green tokens. I've seen a lot of projects go under because they use this continuously failing model, this breeding model that is just driving token prices down. I mean, people can only be doing something for so long before they need to take a profit. And sure, when we talk about the big name games right now that use this particular breeding model, you have these coins that go up along the J curve, and then they drop off because it hits this point where people don't want to breed anymore. They have enough of what they need, and they need to take some profit. And after that, things can get a little bit hairy with a lot of these games. People can lose faith. So what I've been working on developing in our tokenomics space is a need for these green coins to play the game. And I don't want people buying green coins just to play the game. I don't want you to give us money just so you can play the game. So our game has instituted different ways that you can earn green coins through weekly quests, similar to games like Valorant or League of Legends, where you can do quests every week to earn a little bit of XP. Very similar. We've also instituted an AI mode that will help you earn coins while you learn how to play the game. We are adding different ways for guilds to get more involved in the game. But the main driver of tokens and the need for tokens is to play in our tournament games. So there are currently a few types of tournaments, but one that I'm going to focus on here, since most of them follow the same tune, is our daily brawl. So we are anticipating at our peak, once all passes have been sold out, we'll be anticipating about 6,800 players a day. It assumes approximately 30% to 31% stick to staking. Actually, I think it's 6,700 a day, assuming about 33% stake rather than play the game, which we're looking into as well at alternatives for that. But we're focused on getting our players the best experience as possible. So our goal is to take the best part about it is, so what a player will do, I'll talk you through it from the beginning here, is that a player will pay the entry fee in green coins. They'll have earned their amount of green coins that they need to pay the entry fee. They'll get into a daily tournament. They'll be placed against players of their similar skill level in tournaments of 100 players. So assuming we have 6,700 players, that's 67 tournaments going on all at once. Players will have 10 games that they can play during that 24-hour period until the reset. And during this time, they want to win as many of those 10 games as possible. And this is fast chess too. This is nearing the limit of bullet chess, where we as a team reward your play if you play faster. I think we were discussing on Core the other day, we were discussing initiatives on how to sort of get people to play faster, to get these games done quick, so you're not spending all day playing. I don't want people having to grind for 4 hours a day just to earn some tokens.
Mhm.
But our goal is to reward you for fast gameplay. So as you work through your 10 games, you work through your 10 energy, you try to earn as many points as possible. I believe a win is 5 points, and if you play at maximum speed, which is about 1 to 2 seconds per turn, and you win, let's say you win all of your games, you have the chance of earning up to 70. What's the number? Is it 70? I think it's 70. 30 by, yeah, that 80. 80, yes. 80, you have the chance to earn up to 80 points at the maximum. Out of 100 players, it's unlikely that 2 people will end up with 80, but we'll be using random matchmaking to sort of match people up in their tournament bracket of 100 players. You'll play, and you'll get the chance to, take the top spot. And all of our players who play in the tournaments will receive a reward. Even if you don't win the game, you still have a chance of actually earning some tokens back. So, hey, you didn't win the game. You paid the 25 token entry fee, but you didn't win today. It wasn't a good day for you. You lost all your games. You still made 7 tokens back. But hey, tomorrow the next day you have a really great day. You're paired up against some people. You win 7 out of the 10 games, and you played pretty fast. You got about what would that be? You got about 48 tokens or something like that. And that was a pretty good day for you. And you came in the top 25 players out of 100. You just earned yourself 300 tokens. And what our system does is that each bracket, when summed all together, the amount that we burn every day from entry fees is greater than the amount that is rewarded every day. So, sure, not everyone's going to win every day, but there's always tomorrow, and this does focus on more skilled play. So, even in a lower tournament bracket where people are of lower skill level, the higher skilled will still push forward. It's similar to a lot of matchmaking in games that we know, like Valorant and League, as I mentioned before, is that you're placed into a skill bracket, and as you win in your skill bracket, you'll be rewarded as you move forward. And as you get good enough, you're now being put in higher and higher skill brackets. So the basis of our game is tournament gameplay, and it relies on burning more than we actually produce in terms of green coins. And by doing that, we're creating a stable model for our tokenomics, one that is not really used in any games currently. And we feel that it's worthwhile into exploring this option because it's so clean cut, and we're not overproducing tokens.
Mhm.
And that the tokens aren't really used for currency. They're used for just getting you into games, to getting the passes that you need to play. I don't want the token to become currency. I want the things that you're rewarded with along the way to be what holds value. When we are instituting a lot of cosmetics after our alpha, so the alpha version of the game will consist of just a dual mode, so people can battle in a PvP sort of way, one person versus one person in a chess match. In version 1 of our official game, we do intend to make sure that cosmetics are an option so that people can unlock NFT collectibles that can hold value and that are rare. I mean, I've been setting up various types of tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cosmetic boxes that people can unlock with their coins. And through that, you can earn some amazing cosmetics that you can use in-game or trade outside on the market. And we're looking towards a lot of different features with those cosmetics as well. So I'm hopeful that it's something that really helps to drive people to wanting something more than a token. If you're going to run an NFT game these days, and it was a fantastic quote from Jiho's earlier this week, is that if you're going to run an NFT game, you need to provide more value than just the token to the ecosystem. If a token is being generated, it needs to provide more value than just money, right? It
Mhm.
needs to give something back. And by doing this and unlocking these cosmetics and unlocking these collectibles that'll be hidden throughout our game, there is a lot of potential for that kind of drive in our project. In terms of the alpha passes, those are basically 10,000 Genesis passes that are being released on April 2nd is the start of our allow list mint, and then later in April we'll be hosting the official mint for the alpha passes to our game. And this is basically a test of our game servers and to make sure that everything runs smoothly so that we can release version 1. Alpha will get you into the PvP mindset. You'll learn a lot about chess. It's a chance to learn, it's a chance to experience and get familiar with the game. And all of the passes will be able to be staked come version 1, so that even if you don't like chess, you still have an opportunity to earn through our governance tokens, as well as I previously mentioned. So, as I said, alpha passes, the mint is coming on the allow listed mint on the 2nd, and later in April, date to be determined right now for the secondary mint. And we're really looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of potential, and we've even instituted a way so players can earn during the alpha at the end of the season. Once V1 is in when we're transitioning to version 1, we will be rewarding high-ranking players with tokens, cosmetics, collectibles, all sorts of things. So we're very excited to see how the alpha goes, and we appreciate everyone who is so excited to help us out, and to all the guilds who are so excited to get their players involved as well.
Yeah, we're
I hope
also
that gave it a
excited.
relatively.
Yeah,
Oh,
about to say.
I hope that gave you a relatively good overview of what's going on. I know I was a bit all over the place, but it's a big concept, and we have a lot going on in the game and with the alpha. So yeah, I'm just super excited for everything that's coming in the next couple months.
Project, especially in this game, the tournament-based one. I think that's also a good way to onboard players who are interested in chess, because at least competitive play is already present in your game. And I wonder if the NF or the streamers like Hikaru, TSM Hikaru, will come
Mhm.
on board and play this game.
I'm hoping so. I think our goal for this whole initiative with the green chess is to get people in the NFT space, in the environmental space,
Mhm.
and people who just love chess all in one room together, basically, and to all enjoy the game together and reap the benefits.
Yeah. So when are you guys minting, and what network are you minting on? I think we haven't touched on that. So
Yes. So just to clarify, the allow listed mint is April 2nd, and we will be announcing the public mint later after that. We are still up in the air about a third potential mint, i.e. a second whitelisted mint. We really are wondering if we will get the sort of influence out there, if we'll get our name out there fast enough. We are on a pretty quick timeline right now,
Mhm.
just to hit April 2nd. So we're still tossing things around of dates, about dates, but we are intending to 100% get our first allow listed mint out on April 2nd. And we will be minting on the Harmony network. Harmony is one that we talked about earlier and is a fantastic blockchain for quick transactions with a very low upfront cost on gas fees. Also, Harmony has been so very helpful in terms of their development teams, in the community DAO that I've been working with over on Harmony. And there is just so much promise for that blockchain and for developers who want to build on Harmony, that we are so excited to be working with them. And we've recently filed for a $50,000 grant to help us continue to build our project through Harmony, which is in the stages of being looked over by their team. And we are just so excited for the future with Harmony. It is for those using Binance. And for basically anyone outside of New York, unlike myself, it is incredibly easy for you to get Harmony One tokens. You can easily get them in your MetaMask wallet. It's super easy to connect to the Harmony network as well. We are going to be providing a tutorial on how to connect to the Harmony network as well, so that everyone's able to be onboarded easily. And we'll also be helping out with any sort of gas fees as well. I mean, gas isn't very much on Harmony Network, but we want to show our appreciation for all of our minters as well. I really love Harmony, and I love the ideas that they have, and I love their community-driven focus. And I think it's going to be a great fit for Green as we move forward.
Yeah, I saw that the grant thing. I saw that they're taking applications still for projects to develop on their network, and they're really also pushing those green initiatives, I think. So it's really interesting and great to see in the crypto space.
Absolutely. And Harmony is a very good network when it comes to being green, compared to Ethereum and compared to Bitcoin and Dogecoin, of course. Like all of these other cryptocurrencies and their blockchain networks, it's to a point that, well, you waste so much CO2 on these transactions. Harmony, because the transactions are so long and they require so much effort to be approved, where when it comes to Harmony, this is again proof of stake. And transactions happen in such a fast manner. I think I mean, the thing that makes Harmony's transactions fast is the exact same thing that makes their transactions green and beneficial to our environment. So it's only right that we build on a network that isn't hurting the environment as much as others, right?
Yeah. Before we move on to our community Q&A, I guess, what are your tips for other upcoming NFT projects to be green?
I think one of the things that people can do is basically work alongside us in our quest to be green. I mean, there are a ton of different ways that some projects are buying carbon credits, and that is something that we intend to do in the future as well. When we are big enough and when we are producing enough carbon credits to offset our own carbon emissions, we plan to branch out and give the opportunity for other projects to get the Green NFT seal of approval, get that certification that, hey, this new NFT project is also green because they are working closely with Green NFT to manage their carbon emissions. So maybe right now it's not so prevalent, but in the future we will be having the option for certification of other projects to help them be green and to improve our space overall. I mean, the more projects we can get on board with this, the more successful we'll be. But other tips to be green, I mean, just try to develop on blockchains that make sense. A lot of people develop on Ethereum because a lot of people use Ethereum. But guess what? Ethereum gas fees? I don't know why anyone still uses it. I would not. I hate Ethereum because I have to pay $70 every time I want to buy a new NFT. Like if I want to buy a new $70 NFT, for instance, I have to pay $70 in gas fees. I could have bought two on Harmony Network for the same price. It just doesn't make any sense to me that why people are still using it if it doesn't work. It's one of those things where we just ram our head into the wall until something happens. I mean, people have these talks of Ethereum 2.0, right, where gas fees are going to be next to nothing, but there are already blockchains out there like Polygon and like Harmony and like Ronin, where this stuff already exists, but we choose to ignore it and continue to move forward with Ethereum. I don't know. I don't understand how it continues to work that way. But personally, I'm not a fan, and I will always push for something that's more clean and in terms of green, and push for something that's cheaper for me when I'm trying to buy new NFTs. So it only makes sense to to start developing on a blockchain that is beneficial to the environment. And that's my number one recommendation to new projects. I mean, you may lose the initial Ethereum fan base that exists. I mean, there's people who will only use Ethereum network, and you may lose that crowd, but you'll receive the other part of the crowd who is really excited about the fact that you are taking an initiative to be more green.
Yeah, those are great tips from Julian. So I hope those who are listening in to our podcast that are planning to make NFT projects, you can take those tips to heart and yeah, build on networks that are green. So yeah. Yeah, I think the problem currently now with Ethereum moving to 2.0, which is moving from proof of work to proof of stake, is that the decision is coming from the community. And I
Mhm.
think the apprehension comes from the fact that it may reduce the validators' rewards significantly. That's why it still hasn't pushed through. So,
Mhm. I see.
yeah, so I think that's why V2 of Ethereum is still in the works, quote unquote, or still hasn't been implemented yet. But hopefully it becomes a reality in the near future. But yeah, for now we just wait and see how it goes.
Absolutely. I'm hopeful that we see an improvement on Ethereum at some point. And I mean, if they can really make a difference in the way that they, generate coins, I think it'll environmentalism will come second nature at that point.
Yeah. So now we move forward to our community Q&A. If anyone Discord server. So this is from Creatine. Harmony is my most important portfolio. Yes, their transactions are quick and gas is cheap, but how will you address their smaller user base on the NFT side? That's a really good question.
That is a really good question. And you're totally right to think that the user base is smaller and it is something we're going to have to work around. My goal is to onboard more people onto Harmony. As a Harmony community member and a member of the community DAO, it is my responsibility to bring people to Harmony, bridge people to Harmony, and say, look how easy this is. So maybe I won't hit the Ethereum NFT crowd, as I said, but I'm going to move our community over to Harmony and help them get acquainted with it. I mean, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. I got onboarded. Okay, I got myself onboarded through a bunch of convoluted steps because in New York State, where everything is so much more difficult, we have a lot of regulations on crypto. So I tend to find myself in a pocket of never being able to buy any altcoins, anything like that, which is not awesome. But adversely, everyone else should have a very easy onboarding into Harmony Network. And I intend to create a bunch of guides and help as many people as possible to basically get them into Harmony and help them understand how great Harmony can actually be, and not just for Green NFT, but the whole Harmony community. Harmony has a ton of different DAOs, including the very prevalent community DAO that makes a lot of decisions in the Harmony space and develops a lot of great projects. So I'm going to do my best to be a good Harmony contributor and get people into Harmony and get them involved.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And also, I think Harmony is also a bit underrated at the moment. I've been
Absolutely.
holding some Harmony coins uh, and also exploring the different projects in Harmony. So I encountered one Harmony game that's very interesting. It's an RPG game. I just forgot the name, but I played it for like a week, and it's really good. And also the transaction fees are really cheap. So yeah, definitely people have to check out other networks because some of them are really underrated, especially those that are doing some green initiatives like Harmony.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah, and it's the same of what I said earlier. It's better to branch out and see what all of your options are rather than being stuck to Ethereum. And I will continue to preach that. as much as I can. And I think Creatine had a follow-up question as well.
Yep.
Will we see a different kind of game aside from chess? And my answer is absolutely we will. We will be. Chess is the starting point. I have a lot of big ideas and a lot of things that aren't confirmed with our team yet, but we have been constantly we've been brainstorming a lot of different ideas. We have a whole bunch of chats for it just for brainstorming. And we do intend on expanding into different types of games later down the line. My vision of Green NFT has two sides. It has the environmental side, and it has almost that homey sort of arcade feel to it, where you use our green coin to play a multitude of different games of varying complexities. And that idea just makes me so excited. Yeah, and
I
I
hope
know a
that
lot of people.
answers.
Not everyone is keen on chess, and I would love to institute some not so skill based games and other skill based games and whatever your heart could desire. And hopefully down the line we are able to um, get our community more involved in that kind of thing as well. I mean, you see it a lot with what's going on with Axie and the communities getting involved in game making. I would love to be able to create a space that is that open to sort of the community engaging and being active with our token. So I'm hopeful that we'll be seeing a lot of things like that in the future. But right now, the focus is our chess game in terms of the pay to earn. And yes, definitely will be used in the other games. Absolutely. Nobody wanted really. I mean, another battle royale game, another 100-player battle royale game on top of the other 10 that already exist. It's draining, and you want something different, and the people want something different. It's good to get some community feedback outside of just your corporate surveys, trying to get people's ideas of what they want to play next, right? Uh, and hype will grow and decline for all sorts of types of games as we move forward, and it'll work. It's a cyclical thing. um and we really just want to have our community as involved as possible in our decision making in the process. And there are limitations to that, of course. You can't have everybody voting on every single decision ever. There's you reach a point where your system becomes inefficient, but we want to get the community as involved as we possibly can with things on the green side and the things on the game side.
Yeah, I agree. uh, do you have any questions on Facebook? Sorry. Yeah, so no questions on Facebook. I guess for me, my question is why chess as your first game? Is it something you're passionate about, or?
This this is a question a lot of people ask me, and I guess I still don't have the such a strong answer. I mean, I like the game.
Mhm.
I thought it was cool, and ever since I joined the play to earn space, I said, "Why is there no chess game? Why doesn't anyone have an NFT chess game?" And it's just something that's always like floated around in my mind. I'm like, I haven't seen a popular NFT chess game anywhere, but I feel like that is so something that should exist. I mean,
Mm.
the adaptation of where I think there's a lot of potential in the play to earn space is for non-play to earn games to become play to earn, and you institute cryptocurrency. I mean, when we can bridge things to Web3 is where I really think we're starting to build a play to earn space that becomes more stable and becomes has a lot of options for everyone to enjoy. So some
Mhm.
people can go out and enjoy their chess game. Some people can go battle their Axies, and a million other different opportunities. And we're starting to get into that where everyone is starting to bridge these games. I'm seeing a lot of RPG games coming
Mhm.
out, and I think there are some very I think there are some very FPS style games coming out as well. Um, so there's so much to look into, and the more that we can bridge over Web 2 games into Web 3, I think we'll see a huge improvement in the play to earn space rather than these games that come out trying to be all new. I mean, it's hard for small developers to build a new game. So if we can just create adaptations and make pay to, or play to earn possible, um, again, I think we'll see a huge improvement in space.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also, I think some of the developers are kind of overthinking the concepts that they're building when it comes to play to earn. And sometimes they forget that games should also be fun for the users, for the gamers.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think they have to find that perfect balance of having a complex tokenomic system and uh, fun game, basically. So, yeah. So Cretin said Green's ambassador should be Magnus Carlsen. Hmm. I hope you get him to be your ambassador.
We can sure try.
Yeah.
No promises there, but you never know.
Yeah,
Send
you
him
have
the
to
link
shoot
to the
your shot.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, we're very excited for the future. There's a lot to come for our project, and just getting the initial startup is the most important thing. That's why we've been partnering with guilds for a
Mhm.
while now, trying to get people involved in what's going on with Green. Um, and our hope is that it will all pay off. We're trying to do it all organically. We don't buy followers, we don't buy promotions. We just get people who get us, and we go from there. The guilds that we have partnered with and the influencers that we've partnered with understand our project, and they want to make it a reality. So we're not about doing anything in any sort of fake way. And I see a lot of projects, grow 17,000 members or 17,000 followers overnight, and we sit
Yeah.
here at about 410, and I say, oh well, we gained 5 today. That's pretty good. That's a good day.
Yeah.
It's just I'm looking at making it as organic as possible, and that's the only way we're going to build a real community. um,
So Cretin asks if there will be NFT staking in the near future.
Yes, and I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I can clarify on the fact that yes, there will be NFT staking come version 1. Version 1 will introduce the staking of our governance token, which is very exciting, and that's something we're going to be developing post alpha. That's good.
Postmint.
That's on the
Mm.
docket. Um, right now. It's definitely important to us that the staking gets out there, and we want to make the passes stakeable because not everyone wants to play the game, and I understand that. But you still want to earn, and you still deserve something for being a member of the green ecosystem. So, um, definitely, staking is on the front of our minds.
Okay, I have a question. For the tree planting activities that you'll be doing, will it be just on the US side, or are you planning to also partner up with different countries to help their green initiatives as well?
Absolutely. I would love to help other countries and do as much as I can inside the US and outside. It is going to require a lot of work from environmental lawyers so that we are assuring we're in line with doing what's legal. We don't want to do anything illegal in our practices. So once we have a strong team of lawyers on our side, we will be, and our project has grown significantly. We will be moving some operations outside of the U.S. I mean, we did want to look in, since a lot of our player base and our community members are from the Philippines. We wanted to look into how we can support the Philippines with our project as well, and that's just something definitely that's on our minds a lot. I mean, the majority of our staff is also Filipino as well, and we are so excited to work with folks in the Philippines for improving the green infrastructure around the world. So absolutely, we are looking into that as well.
It's great to hear. And if there's anything that we can help here in NFTPinas, we'd love to support your initiatives here in the Philippines, if ever.
Absolutely. We appreciate it a lot because it definitely takes a lot to grow a community, especially of the size that we're hoping for. So all the support we can get is fantastic. And there's a lot that goes into a project like this when you're I mean, in the NFT space, we're in sort of this decentralized area, but we're now bridging it back into a governmental organization. I mean, we are going to be creating the foundation of Green LLC, making sure that we are backed up with a legal entity. And that's important to us. It proves that we are accountable for the things that go on, and it makes sure that we are able to acquire the things we need, like the carbon credits, and make sure our project moves smoothly.
Yeah, and I think we are still a long way to go to have a fully decentralized government. So I think for mass adoption to actually happen, it still has to go hand in hand with the traditional government or traditional ways, and then a decentralized network to possibly move the infrastructure for different systems. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
In my mind,
definitely
we're
one.
just
Mhm. Yeah,
in
go
my
ahead.
mind we're just a we are a company. We are an eco-forestry company who is using this Web3 technology to make a difference. So I mean, everyone uses Web3 differently, and this is our approach.
Yeah, and that's why I really got drawn into your project because you're really pushing this initiative, and that's one of the reasons why I really like your project.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, it's the most important thing to us, definitely. Just
mhm.
being green and providing those green services is always number one.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any more questions?
I'm a little hurt. Nobody asked me my favorite color.
Should I ask? Okay, so what's your favorite color?
Green.
You have a
That was a
very
tough
good,
one.
yeah, you have a very good explanation on that color, right? In your white paper, I saw it in the.
Yes. uh,
Yeah, can you explain
Somebody
about
asked
that?
me, Creatine asked me if I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate the soft questions too. I know we can talk about project stuff all day, but hey, come on,
Yeah.
ask me some cool stuff. It's always good to learn about the people who are behind the screen as well, because I mean, it's important to me when I buy into a new NFT project is that the I don't want to be like that. I want to share as much as I can. I always get overly excited, share too much of what's going on sometimes, and I would rather share more. I'd rather share too much than not enough. You know.
Yeah, I agree. And also, if the founders of a project shows the passion and the enthusiasm on their initiatives and project, it's for me that's a good sign because that's a good sign that they'll deliver what they are promising to the NFT holders or investors. So yeah, that's also one of my actually my personal qualifying uh, traits when I'm looking at a certain NFT project. So before I mint or
Absolutely.
buy, yeah, that's one of the things that I look for.
I get it. It's super important. I don't want to. I don't want to run into a situation where you spend 3 ETH on something that's just not worth it, you know, and to a team that is made up of someone you don't know.
Mm.
How can you put any validity behind that? Even I mean, when you have a trusted team who is doxxed and they're willing to share about themselves, I those are the teams that I think I can put my faith behind. And also have an experience in the field they're working in. I mean, I don't want someone who's working in one thing and then they decide to make an NFT project in something completely different. I mean, you need to have the background skills to make a project work, right? And that's what I put my faith in. I put my faith in the skills that people can really demonstrate um, and prove that they are the ones doing it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we don't have any more questions. Do you have any final words, I guess, for our audience?
I just have to say I really appreciate being here. It's been really fun. I thought that I would be, a bit more nervous coming up here to talk for a while, honestly. But it's been a really fun time. I've had fun talking to you and answering the questions and just getting to chat about our project. It's been a great experience, and I hope I can come back in the future and talk a little bit more once we're a little bit farther down the line, because there's a lot to say for sure. And just one what are we on, an hour and a half here may not sum it all up. So
Yeah, definitely. We would definitely want to invite you back once everything settles, I guess. And yeah,
absolutely.
talk more about other Web3 aspects as well. So not just the environment stuff, maybe some other topic in the future. So you're always welcome here in NFT Pinas.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so that's it for our podcast today. We thank everyone who watched and listened in on our podcast. Also, of course, thank you to Julian of Green NFT for gracing us with his presence and time and his knowledge about the environment stuff. So this is definitely a topic that we should also be considering when evaluating projects, I guess, because it directly affects our future as well as our current state in here in this world. So the environment is definitely one thing that we should be taking care of. And yeah, so thankfully
And if you don't
there's
mind,
yeah, sure.
if I do a quick shout out here, I just want to let everybody know that tomorrow, in case you do have any more questions for our team, uh, Green will be hosting a Q&A as well, and we're also hoping to drop a few fun art leaks tomorrow as well. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah, so that's yeah. Hopefully you guys who are listening in, you follow their Twitter account and also join their Discord server. So I guess that's where you do the Q&As, right? In the Discord server.
Yeah, we'll be doing our Q&A on Discord, and we're also going to be setting up. We have set up a Twitter Spaces as well, so you can join us there as well.
So yeah, that's it for this podcast. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And see you guys on the next one. Bye.
See ya.
I'm like, jokes on you, I got right to the bag. New Bentayga, blue 180 to the dash. They all staring when I pull up, flew right past. I'm a double up the digits, know I'm moving way too damn, way too damn. Fast little baby, you know me. She wanna ceiling with stars. Say you a freak, gotta show me. Call me a perk, go to Mars. Only hit you when I'm lonely. Only hit you when it's dark. Bitch, I'm the one and the only. Too hard to tell you apart. I don't want to talk to nobody. Nobody was there in the mud and the dirt. Now they come back like they sorry. They begging, they trying to get piece of the work. They pray from the sidelines that I fall down. Then I fuck up and I slip. I don't got no time for the bitch talk. Know the way I'm living, gotta sit.